Studios. This is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, we forgot another great segment. Before we do the segment, let me aim the camera at a prize over here. If you're looking at the screen, it's not really a good shot of that, but that box right there contains one of those sound systems that you can attach to your TV. Thank you, Robin. Robin is doing the Vanna White job right now. And that sound system sells for $150 over at Sears. We've got 3 of them we'll be giving away, and you can hook this up to your TV, and not only will your TV give you a high-definition picture, but a high-definition sound, so you don't got to go to the theater anymore. I'm sorry, Hollywood 16, but no, seriously. So $150 prize. That is just part of the holiday giveaway that WOCA is doing. We also have 2 Discovery flights from Ocala Aviation, and these are certificates that are worth $100 each. And if you win one of them, you or somebody you love, you can give the certificate away, can go on a flight with a pilot over at Ocala Aviation and discover whether you yourself perhaps want to become a pilot. Robin and I did it with no intention of becoming a pilot. We just went so we could take pictures, and Robin got sick. And the other thing is we have 2 $20 gifts, $20 or $25 gift cards.
$20 gift cards.
$20 gift cards for Sears. Am I leaving anything out?
Nope, that's it.
Those are the prizes.
Yep.
All right, so we'll pick names at random on the 20th, correct?
Yes.
And the names come from a blue box. Let me show the blue box. There it is. It's not very much to look at, but there it is. And we'll put your name in the blue box. And the way you get your name in the blue box is right now. You have to call Patsy. She's waiting for your call. The number is 732-8000. 732-8000. Get your name in the box. And on the 20th, you could be the winner of one or more than one of these prizes. So there you go. All right. Now, introducing Lauren Debick is in the studio. Lauren brings us some really great guests. Lauren is the manager of marketing communications at Ocala Health, and she has brought with her Corey Hewitt. And we were just talking to Corey off the air about the trauma center over at Ocala Health, and it's amazing that it's been 5 years already. So they're celebrating their 5th anniversary. Corey has a lot of initials after his name. The only one I know is RN, registered nurse. A BSN. I think I'm one of them. I'm not sure if I am or not, but the first 2 initials sound familiar. And a TCRN. Good morning. And you're the Vice President of Trauma Services for Ocala Health. So good morning, Corey, and good morning, Lauren.
Good morning.
How are you both?
Glad to be here.
Put your microphones on. They'll be able to hear you. So 5 years. We were talking about this off the air. Hard to believe 5 years have passed already, right?
Yeah, it goes by quickly, and it's been an exciting, fast, busy 5 years, and we're glad to be able to celebrate. It's a really exciting moment for us.
So all of those naysayers, I don't mean to bring the politics up, but 6 years ago there was a group of people who didn't want it, and it was all about money, you said, right? So are they now eating their words, saying, oh my gosh, you saved how many lives?
Well, the question always is where's the best place to be able to serve the community?
Yeah.
And so there was a big debate about, is it okay to have a trauma center very far away that sees more patients, or have them closer to the patients that need it? And so we were able to show that there really was a need in the Ocala area, and over the last 5 years now, we've been able to take care of 12,000 patients, almost 13,000,
wow.
5,000 of them being life or death serious trauma alert patients that were treated more quickly and also be able to recover locally near their families.
There was a story in the news, gosh, I don't want to tell you the wrong city, but it was somewhere in Florida, and it was like in the last few days, where a bad guy, I'll just use a generic term, shot a police officer several times. The police officer shot and killed the bad guy, but the police officer had several bullets in him, and he drove himself into the emergency room.
Yeah.
So what happens in a case like that? Do you ever have cases that don't look like trauma on the outside, but it turns out they are, because that's got to be trauma, right?
Most certainly, yeah. Anytime there's any kind of penetrating injury to the middle of your body or even to your upper arms or legs, you can be injured and bleed enough to threaten your life or even threaten the limb. And so those are all trauma patients. And what we do is we've trained our staff, not just for the ambulance crew and our fabulous EMS partners out in the community, but also the triage staff when people first drive up to be able to how to quickly identify who has the most serious injuries and to be able to get them directly into our trauma base. So, for example, any kind of gunshot, when we would have the surgery in usually about 15 to 16 minutes.
No way.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, less time than it used to take just to sign into an ER.
Okay, so that wouldn't have happened if you didn't have the trauma center.
Yeah, community hospital is very, very challenging when you get those emergent needs because they're not set up for that. They don't have the people, the process, the equipment to be able to rapidly get all the specialists that you need. It's generally about 17 people we have that show up within 5-minute notice to be able to take care of these severely injured patients.
And are they all transported by the life flight helicopter, or do they come in ambulance, or does it vary?
Well, about 70% of our trauma patients come in by ambulance. It's certainly by far the most. We do have trauma patients that self-transport themselves as well.
Oh.
And it's just under 20% of ours come by helicopter. We have 3 different helicopter services that help support us. Shands Care runs from just north of us, Bay Flight from southwest of us, and then Orlando has a helicopter air care as well. That'll bring patients up from Leesburg and that area.
Wow, that's amazing. Can I ask you to define what triage is? I hear that all the time. I don't even know what that is, triage.
It's really just a French word that means priority.
It's a French word.
So, yeah.
Priority.
It makes it more professional, right? So it's really just to determine who has the highest priority. So how you take care of a patient is not dependent on what it looks like, but on scientific evidence based on who has the most risk to a life or a limb. And so we have a very strict algorithm of who is a trauma patient and who is not a trauma patient. So we don't overuse the resource and have too much cost and too much people leaving other patient cares to be able to do this. But we also want to make sure we identify those patients that look okay, that maybe have an internal injury, but because of the mechanism, say they fell 20 feet and they hit their head, they did not lose consciousness, but that doesn't mean they're not bleeding on the inside.
And
so
that happens.
Those are the ones we want to identify and be able to intervene before they have serious permanent injuries.
And when you were first setting up the trauma center area of the hospital, did you have to build an extension, or did you use something within the hospital already? How did you determine what section of the hospital you'd have this?
We initially cleared out a section of the emergency room for trauma resuscitation, and we were able to get 2 or 3 patients in at this time. We can take up to 6 by using a couple of the other emergency room beds, but these are dedicated and never used for anything but just the trauma alert patients. And then as the program's grown over the last couple of years, we've put double the size of our ICU because a lot of our trauma patients need significant critical care to recover from their injuries. And right now, Ocala's in the middle of putting on 34 more beds, 2 more ORs, 12 more ER beds.
Oh my.
We're expanding more because our population has just increased exponentially. We're increasing somewhere around 12% a year for the number of trauma patients, and some of that has to be the increasing age of the population, because the same motor vehicle crash for an elderly person can severely injure them. For a younger person, perhaps not as much. And so that's part of it. And also just the general growth of the area. It's more people moving to Marion County, and of course we have Sumter County, Lake, the Villages, all that area too.
So how far do you cover total?
We cover all the way through Citrus County, up into the bottom part of Alachua County, over and down south to about half of the Villages in the north part of Leesburg.
It's a huge area.
It's about 1.4 million people that are in our area. So even though it's Ocala's not a big city, it's a small city with a lot of people.
A lot of people.
In the area,
Yeah, and the parade is this Saturday.
Yes, it
Are
is.
you going? Are you going through the parade?
I'm doing the reindeer run prior to it.
You are.
Oh my
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, we'll be looking for you.
We'll be looking for you.
We'll be sitting on the lawn at Lifestyle or somewhere around there. Yeah. Really? Are you going to wear
wonderful.
antlers?
Maybe.
Oh my gosh, I'm so impressed.
Are you running by yourself, or do you have a runner buddy?
I have a runner buddy.
Oh, nice.
So is Ocala Health in the hospital? Is Ocala Health in the parade?
I will be representing Ocala Health.
Oh, so you're
as
going to
myself.
run and then you're going to be in the parade?
Oh, no, not in the parade, no.
Oh, how come? I need to put a bus or something in there. Do you want to borrow my car?
Oh, maybe.
It's got a sunroof. You can kind of
Maybe something we can look at down the road.
You can sit on top of it and wave. I'll be careful on the brakes. I don't want to send you to the trauma center. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, we will be there. Are you going to go to the parade?
Yeah, I'm actually going to be with the Civil Air Patrol. There's
a
junior high group up in North Carolina. This is one of the things I volunteer is to help with them. And so we've got 40 of them, and we're teaching them leadership and military discipline. And
I'm not worthy to be in the same room as you. You save lives. You're Civil Air Patrol. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. Lauren, you do a lot. We don't do anything. We sit here and talk.
You do a lot also.
Thank you for making us feel better.
How do you handle the family members when the patients are brought in that actually had the trauma happen to them?
Oh.
How do you speak to the family members?
Yeah, that's actually a very serious thing that a lot of people don't think about when they're dealing with a trauma patient. The patient themselves, we're very adapted, and we have all the resources needed to take care of them. But the family members, the trauma is never expected, and it just comes out of the blue. And so they become 1, 2, 3, 10 trauma patients psychologically as well, because their whole world is kind of rocked. And so we have a full-time chaplain who will be able to come down and speak to them. We also have 2 full-time social workers that work with us as well to be able to communicate with them. So the goal is that when a trauma patient comes in, the first thing we do is send word out to the front triage staff in case people walk in, saying, hey, where's my loved one? And also we'll try to be able to get contact information to be able to call them, so in case they are not aware of the accident, so we can be able to let them know what's happening, get them in. And of course, we desire to try to bring them to the patient's bedside as quickly as possible, because not only is it very cathartic and helpful for the patient's family members, but it's helpful for the patient as well, because everybody's scared and they don't know how serious this is.
Right.
How is this going to change my life, my job, my relationship, my ability to do things I love to do? And so the best thing that we can do is reassure them that they have the best chance possible by giving them the best care we can.
Have you been there the whole 5 years?
No, actually, I just came up here about 1.5 years ago.
Okay.
Donna Nadick was the trauma manager, very experienced lady, and she's helped open up the center. And she's now over 4 different trauma centers, including this one here, helping keep everybody on tap, and then we can keep growing.
Have we met Donna? Lauren, do you know?
I don't know.
Sounds familiar.
Possibly.
I think so.
I know this is probably a weird question, but if you could imagine yourself retired, like in the future, is there anything you've seen so far that is like one of the best success stories of your career? I mean, somebody who maybe came in and they had their head cut off and you put it back on and they lived happily ever after?
Well, that would be a little bit challenging. We can't do a whole lot of things, but that was a little tough. I
was just going for the extreme, hoping you could pull it back a little.
I could pull it back a little bit, but there was a patient I took care of about 2 years ago. Before I came here, I was down in the Treasure Coast in Fort Pierce at that trauma center, and we had a patient. They have a SEAL museum where they do a lot of reenactments, and they had a 60,
SEAL? As in Navy SEALs?
Navy SEAls, yeah. Their national museum is in Fort Pierce.
Wow.
And so we have...
I've been there.
It's a
I've seen that.
fabulous
it's really
place.
nice.
And there was a skydiver, 68 years old, who was a retired SEAL, and his chute didn't open up. And he actually fell from 3,000 feet and landed.
Oh, my God.
And he survived. And, he got to the trauma center right away, and we had him for a while. And, he's just a tough old guy, and somehow made it through. That was remarkable. I've had a few, remarkable incidences where people have actually ruptured their heart open because of an accident.
Oh.
And even when your heart's ruptured, if you do CPR and all the other stuff we normally do to keep you alive, until you get to surgery, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
But we were able to get them to surgery so quickly that they survived and got home, no brain injury, no kidney problems, and is doing really well right now. So it's just very, very rare that kind of stuff happened. And when you get to meet those people afterwards at our survivor reunions we have every year, it's just thrilling to know that you had a chance to really change someone's life.
Wow, that is amazing.
If a woman is pregnant and all of a sudden she's not there to her due date yet, and all of a sudden she gets this labor and she just is going to have this baby right then, is that considered a trauma?
No, it's not. Although getting into a motor vehicle accident or falling down a flight of stairs or something when you're in your third trimester can be very serious. And the way we deal with pregnant trauma patients is we have to deal with the mother, because the mother keeps the baby alive. And so we don't really deal with them very much differently than a regular patient. We try to just make sure that the mother stays alive, although there are some things, they have a higher amount of blood in their body, and they don't have as much compensatory mechanisms when their blood pressure falls down. But we have all the different equipment to be able to treat them properly and get them stabilized.
Oh,
is there something we can do for you as a community? I mean, what do you need? 5 years? Do you want a cake? 5 years?
Well, as a
Tuna
community,
noodle salad, maybe?
He's great at making
I'm good at tuna noodle.
you know what? It's not a bad idea. And honestly, the EMS crews, if anybody was going to grab a potluck and bring it down to your fire stations and to help those guys, because they're out in the field and there's only a couple of them in the back. We have a team of 17 people and we have a great crew. But those guys, I really admire. I was a paramedic for 10 years as well, and it's a really challenging job out in the field. For us as a community, when we have serious issues like Hurricane Irma and things like that, I'd encourage people to go down and donate blood, honestly. Blood does not last very long, and it's very quickly there becomes a shortage. And sometimes we have patients that come in that need a lot of blood because they need to go in multiple surgeries in order to be able to get them saved. And so that's probably, as a community support, when we have a disaster, that's something people could look at doing.
Do you know, Lauren, that every morning we speak to Galen Unold from Life South? Did you know that we?
I didn't.
It's a morning segment we do. So
Excellent.
what you just said works hand in hand with his message every morning, which is, just donate. Just donate blood. It's the one thing we can do is.
Yeah, and there's not much that you can do with medical science that replaces that gift of blood. There's really not much. Yeah.
And when people are going into the medical profession and they want to be nurses or doctors, do some of them want to go into the trauma unit when they graduate? Is that their goal?
Yes, that definitely is. It's not someplace that we would put a brand new graduate because it really is the epitome of medical science, because you have to do so much to so many different body systems in a very short period of time, and there's no room for mistake. And so it is something that you have to work your way up to doing, but that is something, for me, it's something I always wanted to do, even from when I was very young. So,
have you seen technology change what you do in your profession in the time you've been doing it?
Oh, most definitely. There's no doubt about it. When I first started doing this 25 years ago, it was hard to get a CAT scan done. I mean, to be able to take a look inside a body. We used to poke needles and draw blood from people's bellies to see if they were bleeding, and kind of push on them and get a feel for it, and maybe we'll bring them to surgery just in case. And now, not only do you have a CAT scan available within just a few minutes, we have ultrasound machines just sitting at the bedside. And so we literally can take a picture of all your major organs within a minute or two of your arrival, and knowing if you have significant internal bleeding. So as that technology gets further and further into the medical care, we're more quickly able to determine who needs that really, really rapid treatment versus others can take their time and go a little bit more cautious. So yeah, it's definitely amazing what we can do nowadays.
Because of your work in the trauma field, does that assist the other fields, like people that need kidney transplants and things like that?
Most definitely. And what they call that is, they call it the aura effect of a trauma center. So 5 years ago, we opened up in a trauma center. And to do that, you're required to have a bunch of different specialists available 24 hours a day. And so we had to bring in extra physicians to be able to do things like eye surgery and hand surgery, plastic surgery, orthopedics, neurosurgery. All you need them available 24 hours a day, so we needed more of them. And then because of that, specialists, the more highly critical patients are coming, and now we've reopened our open heart program, and now we're going to be looking at a neurointerventional program where you can deal with people that have aneurysms in their brain and different things. And so what happens is, because you're bringing excellence to the facility, it attracts more people that want to deal with at that level.
I understand that, yeah.
So it's an aura effect. It kind of expands, and so while we're very proud of the 12,000 people we care for, having that center has been able to expand for tens of thousands of other patients who need things like renal surgery and liver surgery and all those other things.
Because the doctors are in the area.
Because we have them available.
Oh, wow.
And now we've actually started our own residency program where we're training our own surgeons here. There's a physician shortage everywhere in the country, especially here in Florida. But because we're training our residents here, we have a long-term approach where we're going to be able to keep those surgeons available for Ocala patients. And so our community will be served now without having the shortages that other communities are going to feel.
Wow, the things you must see in the course of your day. Oh, wow.
It's not a boring job, no.
How do you wind down, though, personally? How do you and your staff wind down after seeing something this horrendous?
Well, one of the most important things is stress management, and we have to be able to support each other. And sometimes after some of the more dramatic ones and some of the more challenging ones, we'll actually call together a crisis intervention stress management team where we can
you
get
guys?
together for us and for our staff.
Wow.
It would be not that dissimilar to what a chaplain would do with family members, and we bring a specialist in to be able to come and deal with our staff as well, because their secondhand stress is the term they use for it, and it's a very real thing for law enforcement, for fire, and for healthcare professionals as well. And so it's very important to be able to build people up, to strengthen them, to be able to express that sometimes you're helpless in the face of severe injury, and that's hard as a healthcare. We want to save everybody, and when you do lose somebody, it's very, very hard on us. And so we want to be able to allow people to be able to express that, and that's okay, and we all feel the same way. But we have to be able to get our strength, get ready, and because you never know when that next patient's coming in the door.
Wow.
You know, we have so many guests who tell us that laughter is the best medicine, and I've often wondered why hospitals don't have a stand-up comedian on staff. So I mean, just to go from room to room, just to do a little, you know,
You could do that.
a 5-minute set.
You could do that.
You want me to do
Make
that?
people feel
I
good,
know.
yeah.
I could do
We'll
that.
bring you on staff.
Oh, I heard that one already. That's what I'll get. Oh, I've heard that one already. I heard you tell it to the guy in the bed next to me. Did you tell him the same joke? Oh, wow.
But you're definitely right, and certainly joking around with your friends and trying to, you know, make sure that we're all treat each other as human beings, not just as pieces to a process. You know, that we have to do that for our patients, for the patient's family members, and for the staff members as well.
Have you ever seen, I know this is another way out one, forgive me, Lauren. Did you ever see like a miracle? Have you ever seen, it's the Christmas season, have you ever seen something that you thought, I don't know how that happened?
Well, yes. I mean, I remember just a little while ago we had a patient who was pregnant. She was 9 months pregnant. She got shot 13 times.
Oh my gosh.
13 times.
Oh.
And it is something that should have killed her. I mean, she got shot through the heart. She got shot through some very serious areas, shot in the head.
Wow.
And somehow we were able to keep her alive for 3 weeks to be able to give her baby a chance to survive.
Oh.
And so I don't know how she held on, but I think it was a maternal instinct or something. But she just held on.
Was she
held on
conscious?
because no.
Oh.
She should have been dead. I mean, she was severely injured, but she held on for that length of period of time they needed to be able to get the baby healthy enough to be able to do a C-section, and the baby now has survived. And there's
The mom died?
Mom died, yeah. She should have died immediately on the scene, but somehow she held on for weeks. So you see those kind of things. And then you see
Wow.
other situations where people have these just massive, massive injuries where, you know, they have really bad neck fractures or they bleed a whole lot or something like that. And somehow they come in and they look just fine. And we're like, how could you do that? And, you know, I'm always afraid that I'm going to slip in the bathtub, you know. These other
Me
people,
too.
you know,
I
fall
think the
for
same
40
thing.
feet and they're fine. They go home.
I know. I always pretend I'm falling over.
Yeah.
And make all the little ladies say, "Stop." I'm gonna be fired from my job one day. It's a different kind of harassment. It's not with all this sexual stuff. Mine is just big man stuff.
Yeah.
Big man harassment.
Will you be giving tours this week at the Trauma Center for the anniversary, Lauren?
Trauma.
Or is this something, no,
Something that we're celebrating.
celebrating and everybody that's been involved?
Well, we
That is
all should
amazing.
celebrate it.
Gosh, God bless you all.
Thank you for what you do.
Wow.
How many people? 12,000?
Well, it's over 12,000 patients. That's as of last month, yeah. Yeah, and
Wow.
we're setting records
That's
all the time.
10% of our listenership.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you. Thank you for what you do. Have a great. You celebrate Christmas?
I certainly do.
Yeah, Lauren, you celebrate, right?
And Lauren, you have a special number people can call if they have questions or issues.
Yes, they can call 1-800-530-1188, or they can visit ocalahealthsystem.com and then go to our trauma services page to learn a little bit more.
Lauren Debick, you're amazing. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you for having us.
And Corey Hewitt, you are amazing. Thank you for what you do.
All right, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you and your families, and we'll see you running down the road.
Absolutely, I will be there. I will
We'll
see you Saturday.
on the, what's it called? The civil
Reindeer run.
Civil Air Patrol for the
And the
parade.
Civil Air Patrol.
What are you going to be
Nice.
driving? A tank?
No. The cadets will be doing the marching. I'll just be supervising.
Are you walking in the parade?
Yes, sir.
Oh wait, so just look for us.
Yeah.
We'll be
They will
doing
be
this.
waving.
All right, we'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
I'm Jennifer, the Executive Director of Palm Garden, and I would like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas.
I'm Mary Ann, the Director of Clinical Services, and my staff and I will ensure that the needs of all our residents are met.
I'm Nadia, the Director of Guest Services, and I will be fluffing pillows for our new guests staying with us over the holidays.
I'm Crystal, also from Palm Garden, and I hope each of you have a blessed Christmas as we celebrate the Savior's birth.
Merry Christmas from Palm Garden.
Jean Powell, Past Chamois. Jean and Debbie would like to thank you for another successful year of business. We want to wish everybody a safe, healthy, and prosperous 2018. In addition to our pasture mowing service, we also offer fence row spraying and stump grinding. Now is the perfect time to go ahead on weed control and to take care of those troublesome stumps. We are locally owned and operated, licensed and insured, and farm ready. Powell Jean, Gene, at yahoo.com, 352-629-2440. Jean Powell, Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440. Jean is a proud United States veteran.
Hey guys, looking for something unique? Then try TripAdvisor's #1, the Gypsy Gold Farm Tour. What's so special? Your 2-hour tour begins with one of the most unique stories in the annals of equine history and continues with a walk to meet historical gypsy vanner horses and more. Photo opportunities and a gift shop await your holiday visit. Tours are every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday from 10 a.m. until noon. Only $20 per person. Children 5 years old and under are free. Book now at gypsygold.com.
What are you getting into?
Oh, hey, Joe, look at these cool toys. Here are today's headlines from The Source, WOCA. A jury found 2 of 3 defendants guilty of shooting into a crowd outside Cloud9 nightclub on South Pine Avenue in Ocala in 2015, killing 19-year-old Benitria Robinson and injuring 5 others. The third defendant, after a day-long deliberation session, was acquitted on all charges. Laquan Barrow and Michael Smith were found guilty on charges of second-degree murder and attempted murder, while Gary King was found not guilty of the same charges. Emotions ran high in the courtroom as Laquan Barrow and Michael Smith's verdicts were read. Barrow's sentencing date has not yet been set, while Smith was sentenced shortly after the verdicts were read. Judge Anthony Taddy sentenced Smith to life in prison for the crimes, with a minimum mandatory sentence of 20 years. The Star Banner is reporting that a 69-year-old man was arrested charged with unlawful sexual activity with a minor after admitting to having sex with a 16-year-old girl. The man, identified as Bobby Gadsden, had reportedly given a ride to the girl, who entered his vehicle at the Diamond Oil gas station at 2375 Northeast 25th Avenue. The report states that the Citrus County Sheriff's Office received a report of a teen that was sexually assaulted in October. A woman reported seeing the girl in the gas station parking lot asking people for a ride. The woman snapped a photo of the girl when she entered the vehicle. Gadsden told Ocala Police Detective Brandon Ciroli that the girl told him that she was 19 years old and he offered her a ride in exchange for sex. Gadsden was released yesterday morning on $5,000 bond. One of the Republicans Donald Trump defeated along the road to the White House has taken up his banner for his decision to move the U.S. Embassy in Israel. Alan McBride reports.
Jeb Bush is praising President Donald Trump over the plan to move America's Israeli embassy to Jerusalem. The former GOP presidential candidate tweeted Wednesday that he applauds Trump's decision because Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. He also tweeted the move is an important show of solidarity with one of America's greatest allies. I'm Alan McBride.
Florida Democrats have complained for years that the state punishes people after they are released from prison by refusing to restore their civil rights. Now a Republican has joined the chorus.
State Representative Cord Bird has filed a bill saying people who have paid their debt to society should be able to go to court and have their civil rights restored by a judge.
They turn their life around, but they have a felony on their record. They can't be productive members of society, although they want to. And in any other setting, we would applaud them for turning their life around, but they still wear that scarlet F of being a felon.
The Office of Executive Clemency currently handles civil rights restoration in Florida, but that can take more than a decade. There's a backlog of 22,000 cases. Rick Flagg, Tallahassee.
We could expect a change in the weather for the wetter and the colder starting today. Dan Kotlowski, Florida Weather Center, says we're going to get a low-pressure area rolling along a front and bringing rain for the ride and some cooler temperatures.
An area of low pressure will develop along this frontal system and move northeastward. This will lead to a large area of rain that will spread basically Thursday night through the day on Friday across much of the state, and then as that storm moves away, much colder air will drill into the Sunshine State.
Once the rain clears out, things will get cold. Lows could reach the 30s as far south as the area just north of Orlando this weekend. That means cool temperatures just in time for the Ocala Christmas parade on Saturday. And Walt Disney World has shared a new concept art showing the changes coming to Caribbean Beach Resort. The reveal was part of a 12 Days of Disney Parks Christmas post on the Disney Parks blog. The remodeling project has been underway since May with the closure of Old Port Royale. Shutter's restaurant, located on the waterfront of Old Port Royale, will offer waterfront dining. The restaurant will feature leaves and floral decor. At nearby Banana Cabana, seating areas will be flanked with cabana-style drapes. Repurposed steel drums will serve as lights around a central communal table. The changes are scheduled to debut in the late summer of 2018. And those are the headlines from the source, WOCA 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.